Hey guys, and welcome back to Fringe Friday. I am so excited to get into episode 4. I feel a million times better than I did the last episode. My cat is feeling better. I am in such a good headspace to enjoy this episode. So I am really excited. Where we left off last time, we had Roy, I think his name was. And he was a psychic of sorts. He was a psychic through experimentation, not the usual sort of being born, being able to see a different plane of existence kind of thing. So, I don't know. He was not Phoebe a la Charmed. He was an experiment a la Walter. And I thought it was a really good episode. I don't know why I started saying that. It was really interesting, and I loved this sort of procedural kind of aspect of it, honestly. It's kind of cool to see the start, and we don't know what's going on, and here's this weird-ass thing happening, and then to see how Walter and Olivia and Peter all sort of get involved and their contributions to it. It is... I think, like I said in the second episode, it's kind of everything that I love about Criminal Minds and X-Files and maybe kind of even Supernatural, like this, here's the mystery, and then here's a very loud car. No, but here's the mystery, and here is our team trying to figure it out. I love it, and I love, if you've watched any of my other reactions, like Expanse, I am a sucker for sort of like a ragtag team of misfits that come together and form a family, and obviously that has not happened yet, and Peter and Walter are actually already family, but you know, we have Astrid, and we have Olivia, and we have Walter, and we have Peter and Broyles and what's his name? Charlie and Nina Sharp, I guess, and just lots of different things. And I'm really excited to meet William Bell. And holy hell, am I rambling? I'm gonna stop. Let's just get into episode 4.
Roast beef sandwich on a roll, meat raw as possible. Do you have jalapenos?
I think he does.
11 of those, please. On the side.
11?
You got it.
Okay. She's a waitress. She probably hears weird stuff all the time. What is he writing? He's not even looking. I thought it was an earthquake, but is it something else? Who the hell is this guy? Did he make that happen somehow?
It has arrived.
Wait, I'm sorry, what? What has arrived? Excuse me, what has arrived?
I wanted to help. I felt bad. I still feel bad about what happened to you. But the truth is, you don't need me here.
That isn't the truth.
He's helped.
You need him. I'm just a babysitter.
No, you've been helping.
There's nothing special about me.
I think there is.
He would rather go back to St. Clair's than work here without you. He said that more than once.
Was he wearing clothes at the time?
He's trying to make up for lost time.
The public was told that it was a gas main explosion, which technically is the truth. It's what caused the explosion I want you to see.
Yes, okay. Excuse me. Throwing shit around. Do they have it? I thought that guy had it.
We had it transported here late last night.
What is it?
I wanted you to see this as soon as possible.
Is it an egg? No.
What is it?
It's why you're here. This isn't the first time one of these has shown up. 1987 at Quantico.
At Quantico?
Henry Jacobson.
I spoke to him myself this morning. He's expecting your visit. Said he's looking forward to seeing you again.
Who?
This is the last one, Olivia. And I'm gone.
Doubt.
If you require my perspicacity such as it exists, then there are certain fundamental requirements, not the least of which is access to my equipment, my lab.
He a little testy sometimes.
What can you tell me about Quantico? 1987.
What he found was this. Metallic cylinder, 24 inches tall, 12 inches in...
Yeah, exactly the same.
Perhaps it was a piece of a satellite. Except it wasn't. Stranger still,
What was it?
it was vibrating.
At 2 megahertz. Then again at 4.
There's another.
Where's this one?
48 hours after we found it, there was an explosion unlike anything I'd ever seen.
Where?
It exploded down
Okay.
and was gone.
So it could be the same one? What kind of weapon is that?
Hello?
Is that Scott?
Joe?
He,
This is Agent Dunham.
he's dead, right?
I need a call traced from my cell.
We have no record of any calls in the last 3 hours.
Okay, but that definitely just happened. It's gonna be the bald guy?
Can I help you?
Or the shooty guy? Shooty guy, okay. Is he dead?
Look at this. Less than 2 weeks ago at the hospital in Quincy. It's the same guy, and he looks the same. And he was there with us.
Come with me.
Does he know that guy? He's part of the pattern.
Took us a year to spot him. You did it in 3 weeks.
My girl's smart.
What it looks like he's doing is watching, observing, which is why we refer to him as the observer.
Is he human? Because he ate a really weird sandwich.
Walter, whatever the hell that thing is, you should have never brought it here.
Someone comfort.
Why would you ask that?
Have they?
Yes.
Need something very important.
What?
Aluminum foil.
Why?
Trust me.
No, thank you.
Damn it! Must you always be such a smartass? All our lives depend on it. Go now!
While you're out, you see a chance to get me a root beer
Root beer.
float, that would be wonderful.
Oh. I hope he brings one back, honestly. No, he's gonna drug her. Ah, fuck, I knew it. Walter, what are you doing? Poor Astrid. What the hell is that?
Someone came to you. Think about her.
If you kill him, he can't tell you anything.
See? That was easy.
Now he's gonna kill you.
I haven't had a root beer float in 17 years.
How is it?
Heavenly. Do you want some?
No, thank you. I wouldn't taste much anyway.
Okay. That's why you put everything on the sandwich.
Thank you for hiding the beacon. I can't touch it myself.
Why can't he touch it?
Walter just got picked up, walking the median of I-95.
Did he know that that guy would come to him? Like,
What would you like to know about it?
Where is it?
I can't tell you that. But I can tell you that someone is coming to seek the cylinder. Thus, I had to hide it.
Tell me what it is.
If I attempted to explain it, you might think me mad.
well, just tell us.
Only another 4 hours in which I must keep the cylinder from those who are trying to get it. A theory I have discussed with my friend who agrees with me.
Walter, who is he? Where can we find him?
We won't be able to find him.
Of course not, because he's in the 7th dimension.
He's shy. He just observes.
Walter, you haven't talked to this man. You've seen him in Olivia's photographs, so cut out the gibberish and just tell us where the cylinder is.
Must you always be so small-minded? Don't be like her, like your mother, questioning my judgment. I am not a child. I will not be babied.
Oh, there's a lot.
That's exactly what I needed. Guilt relieved.
I upset him, didn't I?
I mean, you insulted the parent who stayed, right? I mean, we don't know much about her, but she was there. She raised him. That counts for something.
Apparently he had a meeting with a man matching the description of our friend, the bald guy.
Oh, I know a lot of bald guys.
The observer.
Are you saying Walter is saying he knows him?
I'm saying he's not cooperating. I'm saying I'm confused.
I think he knows him somehow from some time. Jean's still there. Oh, look at her. She's so cute back there just eating. Oh no, fuck. Oh hell. He doesn't know anything. He can't tell you. No, stop! Fuck!
I believe this man may have abducted Peter.
That's not... No. Peter will lead him to it.
To what? The cylinder?
Yes.
How? Did you tell him where you put it?
No, of course not.
But he knows the way he thinks.
I have no idea. But even if I did, you're the last person I would tell. But you just did tell me.
How?
Beside his car in your old house, does your father have any other hiding places?
Thank you. You just told me where the cylinder is.
Hopefully they sent people there. Like, hopefully Walter would tell them where it was, and then... Walter's dead? Did she go by herself? Why the hell did she go by herself?
Are you okay?
Yeah, you went that way. Go. He's got a gun.
Well, it's kind of a gun, kind of not a gun. Oh my god, get him! Hello, it's doing something, it's doing something, it's doing something. It's doing something. It's gone. It left. It pieced out.
Departure on schedule.
Who the hell are you? What is the cylinder? You know what it is, don't you? Why is it here? Why now?
Who is he?
Apples, bananas, rhinoceros. I want to hold your hand.
You really know my father? Did you talk to him this afternoon? Were you his friend?
Are you gonna answer any of the questions or just... What was that? It's not like a gun. What are they shooting people with? Can Walter explain, please? Because I am curious and I would like to know.
If you don't mind, there's something I'd like to do first.
Is he gonna apologize to Astrid? Walter, please.
What I did to you was very untrustworthy of me. I never intended to harm you.
She might not forgive you that easy.
If it would help you feel a sense of retribution, I would tell you to inject me too.
Oh, he's trying.
NSA considered that device their personal property. They're looking for an explanation.
Well, aliens? Interdimensional beings? He looks a bit rough.
Something happened out there tonight, Olivia.
Yeah.
The pattern Broyles refers to. I always thought it was nonsense.
Inexplicable things happen every single day. It does not mean that there is any deeper significance.
He knows now.
You know me well enough not to know that these are the last words I would ever expect to be saying, but what if Walter is right? What if this is just the beginning?
Yeah.
There are things happening here that I can't even begin to explain, and I am not going anywhere until I can.
Yay!
In that case, you might want this.
Is
the
it a gun?
credentials have been approved.
Okay. A job.
You remember the night, the accident, when you were young? Who was driving?
Of course I remember.
Your mother was at home.
Of course I remember. Thanksgiving dinner.
When the car went off the road, the ice was so thick that it held the vehicle for what must have been 2 minutes. I regained consciousness. I saw your body. I reached for you, but the ice broke, and we sank.
And then you swam to shore and saved us both. I know.
No, I was incapable of saving you or myself.
Was it the bald guy?
Until someone grabbed me, and we were going up. We were saved, both of us, by a man that I had never met.
The bald guy.
Remember that he was bald, that he had no eyebrows. And as he set us down in the snow, I recall his stare.
Did he say anything?
Without speaking, he made it clear that he would need me one day.
Okay.
Instantly, I knew I had to protect the capsule for him.
Okay.
But what I know is that you are sitting here now.
Because of that guy.
I know you must think me insane.
No, I don't think he does. Not now.
Not nearly as much as you might think.
Who's that?
Olive.
Is it... No, don't end. You know, I'm glad that I had already decided that I was going to watch the next episode. Let's start at the end, because is that actually Agent Scott, right? Is it him? Is he really there? I know that they can access memories and talk to people and stuff like that for, I think they said up to 5 or 6 hours after they die. So I kind of assumed that's what they were doing with him. And then in the last episode, when they were getting all that data and everything, I was like, you know, he's dead, right? And now I'm like, he's dead, right? I'm confused by the phone call and him showing up at Olivia's apartment. I don't know if that's just supposed to be her having a dream, her thinking of... It doesn't make sense that it's just in her subconscious, because there's no sort of indication from the show that it's in her subconscious. So it kind of makes me more hesitant to say that it is in her subconscious and not something that's actually occurring in the world of Fringe as we know it. Especially because there's not really hard and fast rules for what freaky, random, weird stuff exists in the world of Fringe, at least not that I know yet, right? I'm only on episode 4. I don't know all of the rules and what occurs in this universe and what is and isn't allowed. So I'm very curious by that ending. I'm very curious if Agent Scott is alive, and if so, then I understand why he's reaching out to Olivia, but also, like, what the hell does he want, and is she in any danger from him? He said he loved her, but he lied about a lot of stuff, so that kind of worries me a little bit. I'm going to operate off of the basis that it is him until, you know, the next episode, which we're going to watch in like 20 minutes probably. So we'll see. We will see. I am very excited to see. I think the most interesting aspect of this episode, though, was, well, it's kind of twofold, right? It's the bald guy the observer, and also just the dynamic between Walter and Peter in general, I find really fascinating. I really like seeing Walter and Peter interact and sort of learning more about them and their issues and just who they are as people and the different ways that they are different and similar and lots of things like that, or all of that, I guess. And also the observer. I'm trying to figure out what I think about him. He doesn't seem to be a bad guy. He doesn't seem to be necessarily a good guy either. He kind of seems to be an observer, and I'm really curious as to what that means. I'm curious about where he comes from, if he is from Earth, if he's not from Earth, if he's from a different dimension, a different, plane of existence. If right now all I have are questions. Pretty much he's reporting to somebody, right? He gets out his phone communication device and he reports to whoever it is. When the cylinder got there, he said it has arrived. When it went back into the Earth, he said departure right on schedule. So is he observing the pattern? And if so, is he part of the pattern? Like, does he know who is doing this and why it's happening? And what was his purpose for saving Walter and Peter all those years ago? Was it just so that they could help him with the cylinder in 20 years? And if so, how did he know that that would occur and that he would need their help? Or was it that he knows that Walter is somehow, and maybe Peter by extension, involved and necessary for the pattern? But why would he want him investigating if he's working for whoever's doing the pattern? Unless whoever's doing the pattern wants there to be an investigation. But why would they want to be found out? Unless the pattern is in and of itself kind of like some sort of experiment that someone else is running, and Earth and the inhabitants of Earth are kind of the lab rats in that experiment. You know what I mean? Just a lot of questions. Yeah. How does he know what they're gonna think before they say it? How does he know that? I just kind of assumed that Peter might know where Walter hid the cylinder because he knows him better than he thinks he knows him, rather than there's some sort of interconnectedness between their minds and the way that they communicate information. And so that's a kind of interesting concept that I don't fully understand, but I think is fascinating. Obviously, I don't know that much. I'm only 4 episodes into this show, but I find the pattern and sort of trying to figure out what's going on there very interesting. I really just have a lot of questions. I don't really have any answers, but yeah, I'm very fascinated by it. I'm curious as to if this show is going to go the route of life in the universe beyond just life on Earth. I'm curious if they're going to go like multi-dimensional, if they're going to go, yeah, just how far Fringe is going to go. I'm curious, and I'm excited to find out. And I'm excited to see if just what the pattern is and what it means. Something else that I found interesting in this episode, and this is a bit of just a small aside, was Project Thor that Walter talked about. Yeah, which was a torpedo that the United States government was trying to develop that could go from anywhere to anywhere, regardless of any obstacles in the way, including, you know, the Earth, like going through solid ground and stuff. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, I thought it was interesting because it was called Project Thor, which is probably an allusion to maybe like the most obvious Thor, which is, you know, Marvel Thor, and maybe like Mjolnir and how it can just go through anything to get to Thor. Or I also think that since this is the science fiction genre and Stargate SG-1 didn't exist too long before this, honestly. This was 2008. Stargate started in, 1996? And it ended, like, I think not that long before this. And, you know, spoilers for Stargate SG-1. There is a character named Thor in it, and you know, he has a advanced race, and it's pretty cool. And I didn't know if maybe this could be a small reference to that. Probably just looking too deeply into it, but yeah, I just thought it would be kind of cool if it's like a little reference, because they're both science fiction shows. And yeah. So something else that, another kind of small scene that I really enjoyed, or a series of small scenes, was the Walter Astrid sort of debacle of this episode. And, you know, I am excited to see that going forward, because we haven't seen very much of Astrid. She's not been really in the forefront. We don't know much about her or anything like that. And I would like to know more about her. And I really like that Walter chose to apologize and chose to try to take the steps to make amends, even though at the time he thought that what he was doing was right. It doesn't matter. And I think that it's important that he realizes that his reasoning is important, but it doesn't matter insofar as you betrayed the trust of this person who was close to you. And it's good to take the steps to make amends for that, and to try to see if they might be in a position to forgive you for that. And I don't know, I liked it, and I liked that it, even though it was about Walter, it in a way developed Astrid's character a little bit more. We actually got to see a little bit more of her, and yeah, I just hope that we get to see more of her in the future and learn more about her character and her hopes and dreams, and I don't know, just who she is as a character. I think the last thing that I want to talk about is sort of Walter and Peter in this episode. And I find their relationship and their dynamic endlessly fascinating. I really enjoy the Bishop boys, even though they kind of, there's a lot of contention a lot of the time between them, and we don't really know a lot of their history, and we're kind of learning it a little bit and a little bit at a time. And I don't know, I just find it fascinating. I thought that the conversation where, well, conversation might be putting a little bit lightly, but the moment where Walter was talking to Peter and they're having a little bit of a combative moment, and Walter says to Peter not to treat him like a child, not to be like her, that he's an adult and he doesn't need to be treated in that way, right? And in a way, it's like, I don't know, it's hard to sort of pick a side in this debate, because I think that we don't know anything about Peter's mother. So we don't know it. I cannot judge a character that I know next to nothing about. I cannot judge a situation that I know next to nothing about. So it's kind of hard to say like Walter's in the right or Peter's in the right. I think that for Peter, his mother was somebody who loved him and cared about him. And after everything happened with his dad, she's the parent that was there. She's the one that stayed and cared and loved him. At least that's what it seems like. I mean, of course, again, I don't know. But Peter seemed to be affronted and upset on his mother's behalf when Walter said that, which totally understandable. And it's just interesting. And I say that a lot, I know. But looking at it from Walter's perspective, he is an adult. And he is an incredibly intelligent adult. But he doesn't always act like an adult, right? And he's very impulsive, and he's very quick to anger sometimes. And he's just, his emotions lay very close to the surface, and he sort of acts on his emotions a lot. And I can understand if you're this person's wife and you're a mother being upset that he isn't taking his responsibilities seriously, that he's I don't know. It's hard to try to formulate thoughts and opinions when I know so little of the situation. I think that Walter is eccentric, to say the least. And I can understand how being married to somebody like that and trying to raise a child with somebody like that would be very difficult. Now, I think that if you started dating somebody and you fall in love with somebody and he's always acted this way, then it takes a little bit of that away for me, because you chose to marry this person, you chose to have a child with this person, you knew the way that they were. It's a little bit on you. But yeah, I don't know. I find the dynamics fascinating. I can't comment because I don't know enough of the dynamics, but I'm commenting anyway, as you can clearly hear. But honestly, it just makes me want to like really deep dive into their family dynamics and learn so much about everything. Because like, why were Walter and Peter in the car on Thanksgiving anyway? Did they say? Like, where were they going? What were they doing? When they got into the wreck that the mom was mad about. I think what I really need is to meet Peter's mom and Walter's presumably ex-wife and sort of see all of them interact and what sort of dynamic that is, because yeah. Also, would be very interested to know what Walter knew of all of this back then, because if he understands that there's other stuff going on in the world that maybe other people don't fully think about or conceptualize or contemplate, then it also explains his behavior. But I also just kind of think that Walter is a very eccentric character whose emotions are just very close to the surface, like I've already said, and he's very impulsive and he is very intelligent. And yeah, I don't know if any of that rambling made any sense. We'll see if I can edit it into something coherent. But long story short, I am fascinated by Peter and Walter's dynamic, and both of them as just individuals and people I find fascinating. I think that I like Walter's open mind. I like that there's kind of nothing that he's not willing to contemplate if he can figure it out in a lab. And I like that he's even willing to understand or try to understand things that he can't explain. And that is frustrating for him as a scientist, but he's willing to try to figure it out because he's seen it and he's felt it and he's experienced it, you know. I think that's fascinating. I think that Peter is the product of whatever the hell happened between Walter and his wife. And I think that Peter is a very fascinating character, and I'm excited to learn more, excited to see the relationship further develop between him and Walter, excited to see him further develop as a character in general. All right, you guys, but I think that that is all that I have to ramble on about in this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you want, as always, you can like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already. No pressure though. And also, if you want, you can watch the next episode right now over on Patreon, as well as, I'm learning how to talk still, you guys, as well as the entire full-length reaction watch-along style to this and all of the episodes of Fringe so far over on Patreon, which is linked in the description below. And if you don't want to do any of that, that is totally fine. There will always be a new episode of Fringe on Friday, copyright permitting, every week. So until next time, bye guys.